What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MyFilmMovieGuide.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm taking a second look at The Accountant because there's The Accountant 2, and I wanted to rewatch The Accountant 1 before The Accountant 2, like a normal person. Anyway, I found this where it made sense on Amazon with audio description because The Accountant 2 is being released by MGM, Amazon, and so yeah, that was a logical place to find The Accountant. So you can watch with audio descriptions. Directed by Gavin O'Connor. The movie stars Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, J.K. Simmons, Jon Bernthal, Jeffrey Tambor, I believe, is in this. Before we canceled him, and yeah, it's a film that wasn't designed to necessarily be good, but then ended up being good. Like it did really well. It did okay at the box office, but then it did really well on like home video, DVD, VOD, streaming, that kind of thing. It's one of those films that has picked up a lot of steam ever since its initial release. So that's why it took 9 years to make a sequel to it. So click like and subscribe, and we'll talk about The Accountant. So, what I guess makes The Accountant different from films like it is that our lead, Christian, is played by Ben Affleck, who is playing autistic. I'm not entirely sure the artistic representation, so I would, of course, lean to anybody specifically through the autistic community. I think recently I watched The Unbreakable Boy, which kind of stood out to me as being like, well, this is obviously not good. There are some things here that it just kind of feels like we're not really focusing on it that much. Like, we want to focus on it, but we're not going to focus on it as much. We're going to focus on the killing part. We're going to focus on him being a hitman. So the story's told through flashbacks and stuff, and I think the existence of the sequel, and if you're aware of who's in the sequel, is inherently a spoiler to the first movie. So try not to know anything about the sequel if you haven't seen The Accountant. Because characters are returning, and characters who aren't, there are sort of like characters who jump in to sort of reveal their twists here. This is a really hard movie to talk about if I'm trying to not spoil anything, but also acknowledging the fact that there's a sequel, and the sequel's about something, and there are characters who have returned to make the sequel about something, and because in the first movie it openly addressed and answered a question, now the second film can sort of run with that question. So largely having to do with the casting of Jon Bernthal, who is ambiguously used throughout the movie until a point in which they reveal why he's here. And that is, it's something that you may or may not pick up on, but is also sort of designed to be an aha moment. I don't even really want to say a twist because really, I think for the most part, it's not I see dead people. It's not it's not that difficult of a twist, but I think for some people it probably was like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. So I'll try to maintain that for you. I liked The Accountant when I saw it the first time. I don't think it's necessarily the greatest movie ever. I also didn't need a sequel to it. So it's not like I was like, ooh, franchise this immediately. It kind of just worked as a film, and it kind of bookended itself nicely and wrapped up the stories. And I don't really know what the sequel is going to bring. Sometimes we just make sequels because we can, not because we should. And I'm wondering if that's not the case with The Accountant 2. Although, every once in a while, we can make a sequel, and lo and behold, it surprises. But every once in a while is not all the time. So I'm more inclined to believe this is like another Simple Favor, where we did not need to come back, but we did anyway. So I think Ben Affleck is good as Christian. I think the later half of his acting career has been vastly improved over the beginning of his career. Almost like when he started directing, you could tell that he was putting sort of a different kind of thought into his performances. Like when he started to step behind the camera and see from that perspective, he could also sort of self-analyze better. And the performances he started putting out once he started doing Gone Baby Gone and The Town and films like that have been decidedly better than a lot of his pre-directing films and his pre-directing performances, where he relied a lot on his goofy charm and leading man smile and stuff to get him through the film. Here he's not necessarily likable, but he's also not unlikable because he still has to be the protagonist. He's just kind of almost a neutral character. They're not trying to insinuate that the assassin should be warm and fuzzy, but at the same time, he might also have morals and values, a little like John Wick. And he steps in to help Anna Kendrick in this situation and put himself in a different light than he normally is. He sort of is like this legendary thing, which is how we have this other subplot with J.K. Simmons and the actress that works underneath him, who are trying to find him, and they notice all of these odd... Cynthia Day Robinson, I should have named her also. She plays the agent that's working underneath him. And they have sort of pieced together and are slowly uncovering who he is, where he lives, where he works, things about him, while we're seeing Christian's story sort of unfold. There are like two stories unfolding at the same time. J.K. Simmons has a story that he reveals toward the end about his encounter, so to speak, at one point with the accountant. John Lithgow pops up. Has about my screen time, I guess, and this Jeffrey Tambor does. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it. I don't know how to not say the ending. It works. It's just Ben Affleck trying to work through this thing with Anna Kendrick, and sort of watching J.K. Simmons get closer, but also kind of realizing he's probably never going to get there. Like, I never really believed he was ever going to get to where he needed to get. I never really believed that we're going to get to the end of the film and he's going to, like, capture Christian. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's one of those movies. It just feels like he's there for expositional purposes, to be like, to give backstory and to shape and to be like, who is this guy? I don't know. It looks like he's got this, this, and this. Well, that's interesting because they're all of these, you know. It's an interesting way to work exposition in a movie where it's not hitting you over the head that it's exposition and it looks like it's two characters who would be doing the job that they would be doing. But every time that they talk, they're really just giving you more hit backstory. And the film heavily utilizes flashbacks to show you Christian as a kid and what it was like for him growing up with his dad and his brother and his mom. And sort of piecing those things together. So I think Gavin O'Connor did a great job with this, honestly. I think it's a solid film, and I have not seen The Accountant 2 yet. I wanted to get this review done before I watched the sequel, so that it doesn't, like, go back. So I don't go back and be like, it's ruined the first movie for me. No, the audio description was really good. It's human audio description. Always like that. The pacing, the choices, everything that they had, the specificity. There's, for example, there's a Jackson Pollock painting. I won't tell you how it's used, but it actually identifies it as a Jackson Pollock painting, instead of, so the scenes in which that it's in, it's told to be what it is, instead of just calling it a painting. It's important that you know that it's a Jackson Pollock painting, if that makes any sense. So yeah, like, there are specific choices that are being made here that I liked as well. So it's not overtly violent, but it's certainly not for little kids. I mean, it's a film about a hitman, so make life choices based on that. But also it's not, sometimes nowadays we have films that are just overtly violent, brutally so. And The Hitman is just not, um, compared to some of the other things that I've seen since then, before then. There are definitely more violent films than that linger and sort of relish in the violence, and that's not this. So I like The Accountant. There are a lot of films in the genre. I'm not sure that The Accountant is at the top of the genre, but it was a perfectly fine watch the first time around. It's a perfectly fine watch. This is at least my second time. It might be my third, but I know I've seen it before. I just don't know if I've seen it more times than that, more than once. I feel like I haven't. This might just be my true second look at The Accountant. So first time with audio description. And yeah, I think I'm gonna give The Accountant an A minus. I mean, I remember this movie fondly, and I walked into it and I was like, yeah, it's what I remembered. It's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just a little over 2 hours, and it's well paced. And like I said, for a film that's really trying to introduce you to this world of The Accountant, it uses its exposition naturally through the story around it, so that way nobody really has to spend a lot of time explaining things to you in a way that feels like it's hitting you over the head, but rather that all the exposition comes naturally in conversations that those people would be having anyway, that feel like they're the part of the story. So when people have to explain things, it feels like that they would have to explain them anyway in those scenes, and we just happen to be capturing those scenes. So it's one of the reasons why, like Rookie, you usually see things when you do like cop dramas, either in film or in television. You start off with a rookie. It's a great way to introduce audiences to the world, also to how things are, the neighborhood, because you would explain everything to somebody on day one. You got somebody who's new on the job, and it's their first day out. So obviously lots of explaining of what, so that's why those type of movies work so well. Here, they're just utilizing the flashbacks to help shape Christian, and they're using J.K. Simmons' character to sort of help shape some of the other assassinations that we haven't seen yet, because they happened before the film. So that's it. I'm going to give The Accountant fresh A minus, 2 thumbs up, but I don't know what I'm going to give The Accountant 2. I'm treading into very nebulous territory with a sequel on this. I'm scared. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.